Hello, my name is XONEVANT. Today is Friday, August the 1st, and this is your Daily Dose. Alright, so a lot of you have been asking me to go back and talk about the Destiny beta and just kind of wrap things up. You guys know I did my first impressions video, but many of you are saying, hey, why don't you do like a final thoughts video? You know, I try to, stay away from doing reviews because I don't really like putting scores on things. But I figured I would go back and do kind of a final thoughts and kind of what we can expect going forward when this thing drops on 9/9. The beta ran so smooth. I don't know what your experience was, but this was probably the best beta I have ever played in my life. I only got kicked out off the server like twice, but it wasn't like a Battlefield kick off the server, right? When I get kicked off of Battlefield, you know, my whole game will crash. Like my screen freezes, I have to reboot everything and I have to call people or whatever to get back into the game. It takes forever. With this game, I got kicked out and within 10 or 15 seconds I was back in, and I didn't lose anything. So it really wasn't that big of a deal for me, and that was one of my biggest worries going into the beta, was stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because this is an online only type game, and so that kind of scared me a bit. But you know, I understand that I'm going to get kicked every now and again because that's just the internet, you know, that's just internet connections and stuff like that. But for them to have an average of 3.6 million players on for that 7-8, that's an average for that 7 or 8 day period, and for me to only get kicked twice and then I was just able to hop right back in, that's saying something, man. That's a pretty strong beta in my opinion. Now, one thing that I didn't bring up during the first impressions video for Destiny was the multiplayer campaign relationship. And I'm just going to again compare it to, your Battlefields and your Call of Duties. When you pick up a Battlefield or a Call of Duty at launch and you come home, right, you're ready to play the game, you kind of have to make a choice between what you're going to play. You know, am I going to be playing campaign or am I going to be playing multiplayer? Because if you're like me, you like to play the campaign first because you're into the story. But you also know in the back of your mind that if you dive into campaign and play that for a couple of days, maybe get your trophies or your achievements or whatever, or maybe play it on normal and then do your run on hard, which is what most campaign players will do, that's going to take, 3 to 5, maybe even 6 or 7 days depending on your schedule. And then by that time, when you finally go to hop back into multiplayer, you're behind. Like everybody's level 15 or 20. They got guns and attachments that you only dream you wish you had, right? And you're behind. And so you're dying a lot in the multiplayer. Maybe not necessarily because you're playing bad, it's just because they have guns that kill quicker, or maybe they have attachments that allow them to ADS faster because, some of the attachments in these games do affect how fast you can ADS, and so that split-second time can be the differential between you living and you dying. So it becomes this mismatch. It becomes this big disadvantage for a while for a player who decides to tackle campaign. And in scale, when you kind of look at it, it's almost like the developers are asking you to make a choice and they're almost penalizing you if you choose campaign first. Does that make sense? And I know they're not doing that directly, but indirectly that's kind of what's happening when you play a Call of Duty or a Battlefield. But with Destiny, the multiplayer and the co-op are one and the same. So for instance, if we both sat down today and played the actual game and you went into multiplayer and I went into campaign, and we both played for, let's say, 7 days, and then we decided to flip-flop. You came into campaign and I came into multiplayer, we would keep our levels. So if I was level 15 and you were level 14 and we switched, we'd still keep those levels. All the guns that we got during that time period would stay the same, and we would basically just keep on pushing. You know what I mean? And that's also good because if I'm playing campaign and I decide, hey, I want to hop into multiplayer right quick, I don't start from zero. I don't start with weak guns, because I've been able to get guns in the campaign and they carry over into multiplayer. Now, what's going to be interesting about this game when it finally drops, and this is one of those things that's kind of in the back of my mind, is, which mode, right? Campaign or multiplayer, which one of those is going to allow you to rank up quicker? My thought is that it's probably going to be campaign, but who knows? It might be multiplayer, or they may have kind of an equal footing, right? Like an equal type of experience that you get, which levels you up just about the same. Who knows? That's going to be interesting because obviously everybody's going to be wanting to level up when they get this game as quick as possible. So we might see a lot of players jumping in the multiplayer if that's where the advantage is, or staying in the campaign if that's where the advantage is. But regardless of that, when you finally decide to make the jump to the other mode, you're not going to lose a step. You're not going to start from zero. You're going to be the same character that you were when you started, you know, the opposite mode. And you're just going to be in a role in there and just do your thing. And that's what I found fascinating about this game. And I've never been able to really pinpoint what I didn't like about the standard campaign multiplayer that you get from like a Battlefield or Call of Duty, but I think that's it. I think it's the transition always makes you feel like you're behind, and you don't feel that way in Destiny. So between the smooth running beta, the graphics, all the stuff I talked about in my first impressions video, and now that I've actually had a chance to play the multiplayer, and look, I'm not saying that the multiplayer is the best multiplayer ever, or, you know, the maps are the best maps ever. That's not really what I'm getting at. I'm just talking about that relationship. They're equal. They're a part of everything. They're a part of that ecosystem, right? And that's what makes it so cool. Another thing I liked about the multiplayer was that it's Guardians versus Guardians. It's not like, you know, America versus China, or, you know, America versus Russia. It's not one of those type things, right? It's Guardians versus Guardians, and it's a training exercise. It's actually in the story. When you go to the tower, you talk to the Crucible leader, and he actually tells you that it's a training exercise and that you all need to hone your skills and run together and kind of fight each other to train, because what's coming after the Traveler, you guys need to get experienced, you know, on fighting and getting better. So when you're in that, even though it's multiplayer, you're still experiencing the story, and that's what I thought Titanfall was going to be doing, right? It's kind of weaving in a story, but they didn't really do it too well, and I think this one really got it right. So I'm going to be buying my copy on day one, guys, no doubt about it. I am a believer in this game. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. Is there going to be some complications? Probably, but I'm pretty sure that everybody that's going to buy this game played the beta. So I'm feeling like their servers were pretty topped out for that 7 days. And like I said, I don't know about you guys, but I really didn't have that many issues. I mean, the server went down, I think, for a day, but it was scheduled maintenance. We knew that it was coming if you were on their website, but it was all meant to go down, right? And so as long as they let me know when it's going to go down during the actual game, I think I'll be okay. And the fact that I can get back in pretty quick, if I do get kicked, I don't lose anything. That's okay with me, because like I said, it's an internet-based game. I don't expect it to run 100% all the time. But if it starts pulling the Battlefield stuff where it's freezing and it takes me, you know, 20 minutes to get back in the game, then I'm going to have an issue with it. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think about the beta now that it's, you know, now that it's over with. You know, what are your expectations for this game when it drops? Are you buying it? Are you not buying it? I know some of you have already kind of commented on some of the videos and said that it's not really for me and that sort of thing. And that's cool, man. Not every game is meant for everybody. I know Minecraft is super popular right now, but I don't like it. But that doesn't mean it's not a good game. It just means that it's not for me. But I do think that Destiny is going to be one of those games that when you look back on it in 20 years, it's going to be one of those games that you go, you know what? I should have at least given it a shot. You see what I'm saying? And I think if everybody just gives it a shot, you may not like it, but I do think you should at least, you know, check it out. Maybe go to a friend's house and play it or something like that. But, you know, let me know what you guys think below, and I will talk to you soon. Be good.